All right, welcome everybody to the again mock draft. I say again today because we had the first 10 done, but there was a lot of glitching on there, so we want to try to get it a little bit more professional for you. So this is take two. So tell me what your thoughts are real quick, D.
Well, I'm very excited. This is supposed to be a very exciting draft. There's really only one quarterback is supposed to go in the first round. So after the first overall pick, the draft really starts at two. So a lot of teams are going a lot of directions. So it's very exciting, and it'll be real interesting to see how this goes.
Yeah, definitely. And with that being said, we're not even gonna waste any time talking about the Raiders. Everybody knows that it's Fernando Mendoza going number one. So I'm going to get you to start off with your thoughts on number two, New York Jets.
Yep. So I'll just go ahead and say that I think this is going to be edge. I think it's going to be between David Bailey and Arvell Reese. There's been a big debate on which way they're going to go. David Bailey has the higher floor. Um, Arvell Reese has the higher ceiling, more upside. I think at the end of the day, they're going to go with the guy that has the greater potential. Arvell Reese can come off the edge. He can play off ball, freakish athlete, incredible skill set. I think the Jets are enamored with that. I think at the end of the day, they're going to go with that and that high potential. So Jets, Arvell Reese, two overall.
I agree completely. I think everything we've seen, everything we've heard, it kind of reminds me of um, at number two when we picked Chase Young. Everybody knew that Chase Young was going to be the second player picked. And I think this is the same thing. I think everybody knows it's going to be Arvell Reese. It would be a shocker if it wasn't. So again, not going to spend a whole bunch of time on this one. I think it's Arvell Reese as well, and I don't need to go down the laundry list of things. I'm sure if you've watched any of the pre-draft shows, there most of them are saying about the same thing that we were going to say. So,
Yep.
so we'll go right to number three, which is the Arizona Cardinals. Um, the way I see it, I believe the Cardinals want to trade down. Um, I just don't think anybody's going to pay what it's going to take to get up to number three, unless it was somebody like the Browns at six. But again, who are they going to jump up to three to get that they can't really get at six? I don't think they would be looking at edge. So this one's tough for me because everything points to a trade back because I do believe that the Cardinals want the right tackle from Miami, Francis Mouaga. And I believe that's who their pick would be. I just think they would like to trade down a little bit since he's a true right tackle, with people saying because of his size or arm length or whatever that he's probably best inside. But you don't know until you do it. So I'm going to just go ahead and say I think they want to trade back, but nobody's going to pay the price. Like the Bengals, for them to trade up from 10 to 3, it'll cost them their number 40 pick this year and their first round pick next year. And I just
Mm.
don't see anybody doing that. So I'm going Francis Moaga, right tackle from Miami for the Cardinals.
Okay. Yeah, that's a safe pick. I mean, they could go edge there, but at the end of the day, they definitely need help on the right side of the offensive line. They have Paris Johnson at left tackle. They definitely need to get a bookend right tackle. Again, this could be edge, but I agree. I think at the end of the day, they go with Francis Maoga, the right tackle for from the Miami Hurricanes.
Yeah.
Um, he's considered the number one overall, pretty for the most part, the number one overall offensive lineman.
Yeah.
So safe pick. I can go with that. Makes sense.
Yeah, and one more note that I forgot to mention: their starting right tackle for the Cardinals right now is an unrestricted free agent from Atlanta who signed a minimal contract, and he was the backup in Atlanta, and the only reason he started was because the starter got hurt and he had to play, and his stats were not that great. So with them just signing him for the minimal contract that he signed for, I doubt very seriously that's their starting right tackle. So I think they got to come out of this with one, and with knowing that I believe they're going to trade back into the first round to take Ty Simpson with their second round pick and other picks, obviously, that they have to trade to get him. where does that put you trying to get a right tackle later on?
Yeah, that's
That can
true.
come right
That's
in and
true.
start. So now maybe there is, maybe they can pull a rabbit out of the hat, but I'm just saying Elijah Wilkinson cannot be the starter for the Cardinals at right tackle. Just can't happen.
Makes sense.
All
Yep.
right, number four, the Tennessee
Num-
Titans.
Number
Um,
four. Well, like I said, this one I've been going back and forth on.
all right.
Um, I've been going Edge here or Jeremiah Love. This could be Sonny Styles. This could be David Bailey.
Yeah.
But I really think at the end of the day, I said it before and I'll say it again. Don't hate me, my man. Don't hate me,
Oh,
my brother. I'm gonna stick to my guns here and say that the Titans take a weapon, the weapon in this draft, Jeremiah Love,
yeah.
to help out Cam Ward, take some pressure off him.
Mhm.
Yes, they could go edge. Yes, they could go Sonny Styles. But Jeremiah Love is one of the top two best players in this draft class. I see him going. I see the Titans taking him, taking some pressure off Cam Ward. So with the fourth pick, the Titans take Jeremiah Love. That's my pick.
And I wish I could have had the reaction that I had when we first did this with all the glitching and stuff. But it wouldn't have been the same thing because I did kind of like go like, oh my gosh, really? Um,
Yeah.
because yes, I am a homer, but I also use the rosters, um, and I look at that,
Yeah.
and I understand completely the Jeremiah Love. I mean, a lot of the prognosticators are saying that he's going there. I'm going to go a different route, and not just because I want Jeremiah Love to be there at number seven. I'm going to go there because David Bailey is a freakish athlete. He led the NCAA in pressures last year. He would come right in a Robert Saleh defense and just create havoc right from the get. I'm looking at their depth chart on Our Lads, OURLADS.com. And as of right now, they have a second round pick from last year, Oluwafemi Oladejo, as their starting right defensive end. And he is not he did not play that much. So you're projecting at that point. So do you take a guy in the second round from last year and have him start when you don't know how he's going to do, or do you take and plug in David Bailey? So I'm gonna sit there and say that they're gonna plug in David Bailey, and he's gonna be the starting right end for the Tennessee Titans. And
Okay.
I'm a
Like I
homer.
said,
And I'm a homer.
yeah, yeah, that's cool. Like I said, you could make an argument for edge here as well. So it's a valid argument, and it could very well go that way. And to be fair and honest with you, I hope you're right because I'm not gonna lie, I want Jeremiah Love there at seven for my team as well. But I'm predicting he goes four. We'll see what happens. So yeah, but I could see that definitely.
All right, and now I see more of the homer of the two of us because everybody knows who number seven is going to be on mine.
Yes, yes, yes.
All right, so number five, we're looking at the New York Giants. Um, yeah, there's been talk about the Giants going receiver here to pair up with Malik Neighbors when he comes back. There's been talk that if Jeremiah Love is still there, they would take him. I don't believe that. I think for John Harbaugh, I think Cam Skattebo is his type of running back. I think he's somebody that projects well in a power scheme, obviously, and I think that's kind of what the Giants are going to run. So, looking at everybody that's available, I had heard previously, and I know you've mentioned it, that they were in love with Sonny Styles. Could be Lion season that they're talking about it like that, but looking at it at weak side linebacker, they got a fifth round pick from 2022. Micah McFadden, who's done good for him, but you have a chance going from good to just a physical freak. So I'm going to say that the Giants are going Sonny Styles.
Okay. Yeah. I That's who I would project them. That's kind of been the popular consensus with this pick. A lot of publications have him going to the Giants at five. Harbaugh wants that elite off-ball linebacker, captain of the defense type. Sonny Styles fits that mold. Former safety, ball hawk,
Yeah.
leader. freakish athlete, sideline to sideline. So I could definitely see the Giants going in that direction, and it makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Okay. So we're in agreement
Mhm.
on that one.
Yep.
This one is number six, the Browns. The
Yep.
Cleveland Browns. What you got for me, my brother?
So I think, like I said, with this one, I've been torn between, left tackle and wide receiver. And, obviously they could go, Monroe Freeling, probably a little bit too rich for him right there. But I'm going to go ahead and say that they take Carnell Tate because I think, they need a receiver. They need somebody in that offense to jumpstart that offense. Carnell Tate is considered the number one receiver on the draft board, averaged 17.5 yards a catch last year. Great route runner, polished. He has a high floor. You know what you're getting with him. Very savvy, really good hands. So I'm going to go ahead and say that they're going to go ahead and take the receiver and try to get their left tackle with their other first round pick and go Carnell Tate here.
Okay, and I'm gonna flip flop on you.
Hmm.
I think they will
Yep.
take the left tackle. And one of the reasons they have right now Dewan Jones penciled in as the starting left tackle. He was a fourth round pick in 2023. He has been on injured reserve three times in 3 years. So each year he's been on injured reserve for different periods of time. So I don't think they can hold off and try to hope that somebody else that fits. I think Freeling is a true left tackle. That's what he does. That's what he's known for. I think they're going to go with him. And then with their other first round pick, like opposite of you, I think they have the leverage to try to move up. Obviously, it depends on what happens with Jordan Tyson's workout on the 17th, because he has his first workout in the offseason. And if that goes well, he could shoot up draft boards, or if it doesn't go that great, he could slide even past where what do they have? The 24th pick. I mean, he might
Mhm.
slide to them if but I don't know if you want to take him with the hamstring issue that he's dealt with the past 2 years. But yeah, I just don't see. I mean, you got that kid on the last year of his contract, and he's been on injured reserve every year. So I can't see them them doing that and passing up on what seems to be the best pure left tackle in the draft. So I'm going Freeling here. Uh,
Okay.
Obviously, not much to me to talk about with mine for seven. I think that if the board fell this way, I think they would run the card up there, and Jeremiah Love would have to be the pick. Um, so yeah, I'm just Jeremiah Love, Homer me, Homer, Homer, Jeremiah Love.
Mhm. Yep. And then the way that I did, excuse me, the way I did my board, this leaves David Bailey sitting there for us. Um, and I think that they would run up if the board goes the way that I'm projecting. They would just run the card up there for David Bailey, elite edge rusher, freakish athlete. Um, led all of college football with 14 and a half sacks last year. A ton of pressures. Just incredible athlete. It gives us an edge past this year.
Yeah,
We only have one under contract after this coming year.
yeah,
So yeah, David Bailey, that's my pick, assuming it goes the way that my board is.
yeah.
So
And he's honestly, he'd be if Love wasn't there, he would be my pick if he was there.
mhm.
Because I just think he's a game wrecker, and you can never have enough game wreckers, and we can see how hopefully how it translates with Adafa Owe and Chason. Even though Chason's only on a 1 year deal, but we can see how it goes with him. But yeah, I mean, either one of those guys, I would love having that card read and then becoming commanders.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
Number eight, we got the New Orleans Saints. So who you got for New Orleans in this?
Well, I've been back and forth on this one as well. I was thinking, possibly Mansour Delane. They could go Makai Lemon, get a receiver opposite. Um, uh, it's missing me. Chris Olave.
Chris Olave, yeah.
But I think they're gonna go best player available. I like Ruben Bain here. simply because, he is an absolute beast and he could set the edge. He's great against the run. He's great against the pass. He has a high floor, violent hands, good bend. So my pick here is Ruben Bain to the New Orleans Saints at 8.
Yeah. That's good. I mean, they could use the help defensively, obviously. I'm looking defense as well, but I'm looking at their secondary. You
Mhm.
mentioned Mansour Delane 1 year at LSU after he transferred from Virginia Tech and just was
Mhm.
an absolute shutdown corner. Right now, they have Kool-Aid McKinstry, who was second round pick in 24, and they signed Isaac Yiadom or Yiadom, or however you say his name, um, unrestricted free agent from San Francisco. What's interesting with him to me is how they structured it, but they signed him to a 3 year deal, but it's a 3 year, $9 million deal. Um, so no matter how you break it down, that's 3 million a year. I think there was only 4 point something was guaranteed. I think it was almost half. So that tells me that he is not the starter. They wanted him in there, and they were going to address corner in the draft. And I think this is where they address it and they take Mansour Delane, true lockdown corner. And I'm sure they'd be ecstatic with either one of them. But I think Delane feels a more pressing need right now.
Okay. Yeah, I can make that argument too. Like I said, it could go either way. That's what makes this top 10 and quite frankly, the first round so intriguing because so many teams can go so many different directions and you can make an argument for a secondary here. So
Yeah.
yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Number 9, we got the Kansas City Chiefs. They're not used to drafting this high. Um,
No.
so what do you think about the Chiefs?
Well, with the way if my board goes the way that I'm projecting, I think they just run the card up for Mansour Delane because obviously they lost both their corners
Yeah.
this year. And so, Mansour Delane is a ball hawking corner. He, like I said, he transferred from Virginia Tech to LSU. Great coverage skills, fluid hips, ran in the 4.3s, great recovery speed, plays the ball well. Um, I think he would be a great addition to that secondary because they need it, quite frankly. So for me, the way the board's going, I'm saying Mansour Delane.
Yeah. And that makes perfect sense. They have a third round pick from last year, Noel Williams, penciled in as the starter as of now. And while he played good in spot duty and in the nickelback role last year, who knows if he's actually going to be the starter. So that pick makes perfect sense. Unfortunately, I don't have Delane sitting there. Um,
Right.
so I'm going to go with who I think is kind of still the best fit for them right now. And that's going to be, you can't pass up Caleb Downs. Um,
Sure.
they got Alohi Gilman that they signed as a unrestricted free agent from Baltimore, who was involved in that Adafe Owe trade last year from Baltimore to the Chargers and vice versa.
Mhm.
But then they have a fourth round pick from 2023, Chamari Connor. And I know they like him, but there's something with liking somebody, and then there's something where you get a chance to get Caleb Downs. So they can like Connor all they want, but I think if Caleb Downs is sitting there at number 9, he's just kind of what you said about Delane. He's just a freakish athlete. He doesn't have the measurables. He's not Sean Taylor, 6'3", 230 pounds or whatever. He's more like right around the 6 foot range, right around 200 pounds. But his football IQ is through the roof. And I think you put him in that defense with Spagnolo as the defense coordinator, and he can use him all over the place and do different things with him. So I'm going to go at number 9. I'm going Caleb Downs.
Okay. Yeah. That makes sense if the way your board goes. I could absolutely see them taking Caleb Downs there. An elite safety can really rover the field there, really get that, really solidify that secondary. So yeah, if your board goes your way, I could definitely see that. Yep.
All right. And last one for the day, we're doing Cincinnati at number 10. So who
Yep.
you got?
I got the way my board goes, I got Caleb Downs. I
Okay.
think that I think they're going to go best player available. I think many mocks have him going before 10. So if he's sitting there at 10, the Bengals would be very excited to bring in a player of his caliber, a blue chip defensive player to add to that defense and try to improve that defense to the best it can. So I have Caleb Downs at 10.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's somebody that they could definitely put in. They signed Brian Cook um, to play free safety from Kansas City. They got Jordan Battle, third round pick from 2023, penciled in as the other starter. That's kind of like what I was saying about Kansas City. You can like somebody all you want, but then with this guy being available, you can sit there and say, hey, we can do something different. Obviously, he's not available in mine. Uh, no, they're obviously not drafting offense with all the money they
No.
have on offense. So I think they're going to go with the best player available here and get Ruben Bain. Um,
Yeah.
Dropping to number 10, I think they would be ecstatic. They signed Boye Mafe to a like $15 million a year contract for 3 years to be on one edge. And then right now they have Miles Murphy, who was a first round pick in 2023, but he hasn't really exploded. And with Ruben Bain, like you said earlier, he can handle the edge, hold the edge. He can rush the passer. He's not going to be somebody that gets you 15 sacks a year. He may get into double digits. A lot of it's going to be hustle sacks because he doesn't give up and his motor is constantly running. So I could see them just sitting him right in there, or even moving Boye Mafe to more of a stand-up linebacker role on pass rush situations. That way you can have Ruben Bain in the mix right there. So that's the top 10 that we look pretty good at right now. With I believe there's only one exception for you and me that nine of the players were the same, just different positions. Um, and so I have out of those, I know you took Tate, you had Tate going. I did not.
Yeah.
Um,
hmm
I had Freeling.
Yeah, Freeling. Yep.
So, and then you have somebody else available that I do not, I guess. Who do you have? I don't know who you have. I think that's all of them still.
Yeah.
Just Freeling and Tate. So that was flip flop. So, um, yeah. So that was where we look at it now. This is what Saturday, April the 11th. Things
Mhm.
could still change. Heck, we might do another mock. After we get through these 32, we might turn around do another mock, and I might flip flop on somebody. But
Yep.
I think right now that's the way it's looking. As far as looking at the rosters and kind of their needs. And you never know. I mean, you still got stuff going on. You had the Eagles trade for Wicks, the wide receiver from Green Bay, and
Yep.
everybody's saying that's the precursor to AJ Brown being traded. And a lot of people think he's going to New England to reunite with Mike Vrabel. So, there'll still be more stuff to talk about. This is just the first 1 through 10, and then we'll get on the rest of it, and we'll be able to do some more after this. So any
Yep.
final thoughts on your mock?
No, just really excited. I think things went the best, as far as what most people would think. Like I said, a couple could go, some of these teams could go in different directions, but ultimately, this is what we're projecting. It's going to be exciting because, like I said, there could be some trades. You
Yeah.
just never know. So, yeah, really looking forward to it.
Yeah, and that would be the big thing. If somebody loves, say, David Bailey enough, and that would to me have to be the one. You would have to love David Bailey in order to jump up and get him. And you're using basically two firsts and a second. And only time will tell if he's worthy of that, because then you're talking about a, Miles Garrett type player. That's what you're projecting him as, and he just little undersized at this moment. But as far as getting to the quarterback, I think he had like 85 pressures. So that's going to be the one. I think that if it goes, one is definitely going Mendoza. If Reese goes two, I think the Cards are going to take all their time on draft night and try to get a trade to trade back. And I think the only person that makes sense for would be David Bailey.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
all right. So that's
Yeah.
1 through 10. Let us know what you think in the comments. Anything you have to say, if you think we're full of crap, or if you agree or disagree, we love all feedback. and we can take it. We're big boys, so we'll be all right. So that's 1 through 10. We'll go ahead and get back to work on the rest of it, and we'll be having 11 through 20 at another time. Thank y'all, and see y'all soon.
Peace.